I'm gonna sneeze.
No one's watching or nothing. I have cleared out the room. Also,
Hi guys, it's Tarnie and welcome back to my channel. This is the long-awaited video that everyone has been asking me for. I've been getting so many questions about what do I need to expect at placement, what happens at placement, what do I do? I can't talk today. And I couldn't answer any of your questions because I hadn't been on placement yet. But that has changed now. I have completed my very first placement. Just a bit of background for those of you who are new. I am an enrolled nursing student and I am 6 months into my course at the moment. I have just completed my very first placement, which was a 2-week block. I'm basically just here to answer all of the questions that I've received over the last couple of months and just to give you guys a bit of peace of mind as well, because I was very nervous for my first placement, and if I had come across a video like this, maybe I could have been a little bit more prepared or know what to expect. So I'm hoping that this might be able to help a couple of you guys out. I actually have written nothing down, so that's great. I thought I just might run through like how day one goes, what you're doing each day, and what you're probably hoping to achieve by the end of your placement. My very first placement was a 2-week block. Now with placements, I believe it would be the same for every institution. So we only work Monday to Friday. You don't work public holidays or weekends. It's different from hospital to hospital. However, the place that we got sent to, we did 1 week of morning shifts and 1 week of afternoon shifts. You do no night shifts as a student. A morning shift is from 7 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. and an afternoon shift is 2 o'clock until 10:30. I started with the PM shifts, so I worked afternoons for the first week and then I switched over to the AM shift. On the very first day of placement, this is going to be different from hospital to hospital. However, I sent emails weeks before telling you where to go and what ward you're going to be in and what shift you're going to have, so you'll get information provided to you. So my very first day, we met at the assembly point. We were greeted by one of the hospital staff who was kind of running all the students. Not going to lie, we kind of missed out on our induction because those of you who are in Australia may know that we had some really bad flooding a couple weeks back, and it was quite close to my area and where the hospital is. So many people were late, a lot of people couldn't get to work, so we kind of didn't get that introduction. I can't talk too much about orientation because we didn't exactly have one, but we did the best with the circumstances. Basically, we were greeted by one of the staff members there and picked up by our facilitator. So there's a facilitator in each ward. Oh, I might explain too. So there was probably about I think there's about 15 people in my class. There was 2 of us to each ward. So I was doing PM shifts and another student in my class was in the same ward doing the AM shift. So essentially we were working together, but we didn't really cross paths much. So yeah, there'll probably be 2 of you to a ward depending on, again, your hospital and how they run things. So for the first day, a friend from my class and we both did the exact same shift. So we had orientation at 8 o'clock in the morning. We were picked up by the supervisor and taken to the ward. From there, the supervisor kind of just ran through what to expect over the coming few days. Just going through all the basics, like where we can find things, like where the bathrooms are, where we can put our bags, just all of those simple things that you kind of forget to ask about. Like, this is where you'll get contact phone numbers if you're sick and can't come in. First day, we had our little introduction. We had a walk around the ward. First thing that we did was kind of observe our facilitator. So the other student from my class and I were working together. So we were working together for that shift. So we just followed around our supervisor. She was showing us what to do and how to communicate with your patients correctly. Again, you should know most of this before you actually go to your first placement, so it wasn't a huge shock. It's just doing it on real patients instead of your classmates, which is kind of different. What happened then next was the supervisor just observed myself and the other student taking patient observations on a few different people. She just gave us a few pointers. I think one important thing to remember with your patients though is that they're in hospital for a reason. They are not well. Like in class, you're having a laugh, you're doing your friends' blood pressure and whatnot. It's important to remember that a lot of these patients are elderly and are quite fragile. You don't want to be too rough with them. You want to be gentle, but you want to be confident too. So simple things like holding the patient's arm up for them when you're doing their blood pressure, or letting them rest it down. Don't let them hold it in the air, as they're old. They're in bed, they can't be sitting there holding up their arm for you to do these observations. So I think that's just one thing that we as students forget, is to be mindful of the patient. Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there. We were just observed taking observations on our patients, and then we were allocated to a registered nurse for the rest of the day. We basically just shadowed the RN for the first day, and once the second day hit, that was when we kind of started getting involved a little bit more. It goes super quick because there's just so much going on. You've got your orientation, you're meeting everyone, you're observing patients, you're just doing a lot, so the day goes really quickly. Oh, what I actually did want to mention too is uniform. So you will probably be told to order a shirt to wear. So we had ordered shirts from our TAFE. They were just a navy blue shirt and it said TAFE nursing on the front. We were just requested to get navy blue pants. So not skinny jeans, not like cargo style pants, just normal everyday pants. I just had two pairs. I had a wide leg pair and a straight leg. I found that Target had the best range of dark blue pants, so if anyone else needs to get the same, go to Target. Now shoes was strange. Like we were told by our TAFE teachers to have, like it's recommended to have no laces and for them to be leather. However, when I was on the ward, a lot of the nurses were wearing like just normal runners, so I wouldn't be too fussed on getting like completely leather and waterproof, no lace shoes. However, I did buy them and I was glad because they were super comfortable, because you're on your feet all day, so your legs do get sore. So I think the best thing you can do is just get a good pair of shoes for standing up all day. I also had a fob watch on, so I purchased my own fob watch, which we were all told to do. You cannot wear any like watches, bracelets, jewelry. We were told to only wear one set of earrings. Again, I noticed a lot of the nurses were wearing like full sets on their ears, so it just depends on where you go what their standards are. So like I didn't wear my necklace and I just wore one set of earrings. I took the second set out. That's just kind of like your dress guidelines. Yeah, as I was saying, once the second day starts, you can kind of get involved a little bit more. I was focusing on really observing what my registered nurse was doing and how they're interacting with patients and how I can best achieve that within my scope of practice. I did all the observations for my nurse, so I went around to each patient that we were allocated, took their blood pressure, heart rate, respirations, O2 levels and temperature. So I think the best thing that you can be confident with is doing your obs. So yeah, that's kind of how the first week went essentially. I don't want to go too much more detail because I know this video is probably already going to be quite long, but that's essentially your first week. By the second week, that was when you kind of have a little bit more responsibility. So in my ward, my facilitator came to see me on Monday of the second week and said, look, you're doing really well. This week we want to focus on you starting to do progress notes and handovers. So progress notes, most of you guys would be familiar with, but it's when you basically write what's been happening with your patient, how they're behaving, has there been any issues. What I did is I hand wrote my first progress note and my facilitator checked it over. She gave me a few pointers and then I put it into the system. Handover is when you're essentially like the afternoon shift takes over from the morning shift, or the night shift takes over from afternoon. So what you do is you go around from room to room, and the nurses from the morning shift just give you an update, a verbal update on what has been happening with the patient. I was not handing over every single patient. I was given one patient each day that was solely under my care. I just wouldn't do like medications and stuff that was out of my scope. I had one patient every day for the second week who I just would solely look after. So I would be responsible for handing over all of that information when the night shift or the morning shift would take over. I was terrified to do my first one because they speak a lot of gibberish. Like, these are words that I've never heard before, and I wanted to make sure I was conveying the correct information on my patient. So I did spend some of my free time, like on my breaks, kind of researching some different conditions to do with my patients, so I knew what I was talking about, but I wouldn't be too caught up on all those little details. They don't expect you to know everything. I was doing my patient handovers and my documentation all the second week, as well as doing patient observations, personal hygiene. I was assisting with feeding, bed making, all of those basic things that you learn in your nursing course within the first couple of months. Another thing that you do need to make sure that's up to date before you go into a hospital is that you have all of your vaccinations. We were told this a couple months beforehand so that we could start getting that in order. I was completely up to date except for one. It can just take a little while to go back through all of your documents and make sure that you are fully vaccinated, so I would get onto that as soon as possible. You will need to go to your doctor for them to fill out a form to say that you are completely up to date. One thing you guys might want to know, the COVID-19 vaccine is not mandatory to have to go on your placement at this stage anyway, so this is April 2021. But yeah, I think the main thing I want to get across is enjoy your time. A lot of people, myself included, freak themselves out before placement because you can hear a lot of stories. Don't expect the worst. I'm someone who is riddled with anxiety. The thing that I was trying to focus on before I went on my placement was nothing bad has happened. Don't stress about placement if nothing bad has happened, and get involved. Talk to your patients, make them feel comfortable, make them feel looked after, form relationships, form bonds. Your day is going to go quicker if you're enjoying the company around you. I really hope that this has helped someone in some way. I know my videos are a little bit all over the place. Just leave me any constructive criticism down below and I'm happy to take it on. As always, I hope you guys are having the best day, and good luck to anyone who is going on a placement soon. Oh, also, please like this video if you have enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. But I will see you in my next video. Bye!